Hi, and welcome to Completely Off Topic with Susan Serrao, the podcast where we talk to Calgary-based female artists that are creating their own bodies of work. Today we have with us Sally Cacic, who is an actor. But first, how do we say your last name?
It's Cacic.
Cacic.
Yeah, it's a Slavic descent.
Oh.
My father was born and raised in Serbia. He's actually Croatian. It's very controversial.
Ooh.
But yes, so I'm first generation Australian.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I am first generation Canadian on my dad's side.
I know this.
Yeah.
Your dad is from... He's Guyanese.
Yes, very good.
I was like, what is Guyanese without the plural?
Yes,
Is
it's
what it
from
is,
Guyana. Guyanese.
Guyana. It is Guyana.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was right the first time.
Okay, so I was like a complete mess because there was eclipse season going on, and I'm like, it's all because of the eclipse season. I'm like, well, maybe there's life choices in there too. So
I'm deeply affected by moon cycles.
Are you?
Moon cycles are my hormones. They got me all.
So how did you handle the eclipse season there?
I've come out of a bumpy time. Seriously. Let me tell you. Feeling better now though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bumpy time how?
Just ups and downs and insides outs. Insides outs.
I like the specificity. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah.
So do you remember August? There was like a full moon, and my horoscope was like, okay, this full moon is going to totally rock everybody. Some things are going to happen. Like, you've got plans right now. Nothing is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Well, we had planned to film Got MILF in Kelowna.
Right.
During the end of August.
I remember this.
So, of course, we're getting ready. Everything's ready. And, of course, what happens? A huge fire.
Yeah.
A huge fire happens. And then even the director was going to maybe have to evacuate her house. And the crew members were, like, evacuating. Like, it was chaos. The house we were going to maybe use, they were evacuating. You could see the fire from their front porch. Then, I can't remember what else happened. But then, so then we had to reroute. We had to cancel. And then I went into, I got COVID. I got COVID and had to stay home for a week. And then I've been coughing and had a bad throat since then. And it was just like boom, boom, boom. All the, like, I think 5-10 things happened that were just like, well, this is terrible. Well, and I was like, this goddamn full moon.
Yeah. We were also supposed to go out to BC during that time.
Yeah.
And we couldn't go because of the fires, because the cabin that we were going to stay at was right in the fire zone. So,
which was huge.
It totally changed our summer plans.
What did you guys do?
We had a staycation. We turned the lights off and pretended we went home. Yeah, it was really nice.
Don't move anybody. We're having a fun vacation. We don't want anybody to know we're here.
Yeah, it's like, in Everyone Loves Raymond, when they pretend they're not home and they put the hand through. That was our life for the week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it was fun.
It was, yeah.
Good memories,
really
lots of pictures.
No pictures, no photograph evidence. It was like a pajamas and pizza kind of week. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Catherine from Montreal, she's supposed to come. We were supposed to go to Cuba in November. And then it was just like all of these, during the eclipse season.
Of course.
In October, we had this, I was coming back from Kelowna and I got pulled over for a ticket. And then when I was in Calgary, I got a ticket for running a red light, which I don't do. And I know this intersection, like I know they have the camera and everything. And I was like, no, there's no chance I did that. I look at it, it's the day after I got back from Kelowna where I was producing and acting and managing all of the actors. And like, it was like a full-on week. Anyhow, I look at the picture, it's totally red before I even go into the intersection. Because I know what I was thinking. I was like, hey, I haven't seen my kids for a week. I am going to be focused. I'm going to listen to their stories. And of course, Rhett's in the front seat with me, my 12-year-old, and he is the yapper. And so he's chatting. I know I was just like, and trying to keep all of the names straight and kind of keep all of the stories straight, and totally blew this red light. And then we went to Portland for a film festival, and it was just like, I'm telling my friend Catherine this. I'm like, yeah, so going to Cuba should be super fun. I just spent like $1,500 on stuff I had like that is like not important. And she's like, how about I come to Calgary? I'm like, okay, but I'm telling nobody is knowing that I'm home then. Like, I'm not going to any hockey games. I'm not going to any stand-up sets. I'm not doing anything. Like, we're going to Kananaskis. We're going to do whatever, baths and stuff. And then whatever we do in Calgary is going to be stuff I don't do in Calgary ever. And so I'm pretty actually excited about it.
That's so fun. I actually have a friend visiting from Australia right now who I haven't seen for years and years and years. And she's yesterday she messaged me, we're going to get together for brunch tomorrow. And she was like, I'm going to go to the Calgary Tower today and do all of these things. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so fun. I don't feel like I ever really did those touristy things when I moved here because I had already been here. Anyway, so I'm hoping I can take her out to the Rockies and show her all the sights. Yeah. And just pretend that we're tourists together.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah.
When Catherine came out and I showed her Banff, I was like, brought her to the Banff Springs, and she was like, it looks like a hospital. And I was like, this is the Banff Springs Hotel. Like, this is what everybody comes to Banff for. And she's like, it looks like a hospital. So when I went to Montreal, she showed me this hospital. I'm like, it looks like the Banff Springs Hotel. It's literally the same architecture. But yeah.
Everything in Montreal is like gorgeous.
Yeah.
Though.
And been there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you come to Calgary? And you came to Calgary before you moved here?
Yes. Well, I first came to Canada when I was 18 and I backpacked across Saskatchewan. And
you backpacked across Saskatchewan?
I did, yeah. I backpacked across Saskatchewan. I worked as a nanny.
So people who aren't familiar with Canada, Saskatchewan, you can see from Alberta to Manitoba because it is flat and just farms.
Yes, I heard many times while I was there the joke about how if you let your dog leave your yard, you can still see it running away 4 days later.
Yes. Yes.
But I quite enjoyed it because it's very similar to where I grew up. I grew up in rural Western Australia where it's sheep and wheat country right before you hit goldfields. So there's a really, like, it's big, wide open space. And so, yeah, I quite enjoyed that. And I'd been in Vancouver for a while. And then I came to Calgary with a friend and spent a few months here, I think. And then went home via Germany and the UK and a few other places.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was...
quite a via.
Well, yeah. I was in my travel age.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to go this way.
Yeah. And, yeah, then when I was 25, I decided to move back. So that was... I shouldn't have said that, because now I have to admit how many years ago that was.
You don't. That was like at least a decade. One decade.
It was about a decade ago.
About a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit over a decade ago.
Just a little over. Or whatever. Age. I cared about age when I was 27, and since then I haven't really cared, I think.
You know, my mum promised me at some point I would get to the point where I no longer cared about what anyone thought about me or my age. And when she passed away last year, I remember saying to my sisters, when is that going to happen? But a year later, I feel like I'm definitely closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said that, and as soon as I said, I'm like, I don't really care about age anymore, I felt my hand go to my neck.
I know, I might cover my chicken neck.
Reminds me of our last lunch, and then we took a photo, a selfie, and we had to check our necks, and we're like, oh, that's a good one. That looks good. We're so pretty. And then my friend was like, oh my God, your necks look amazing.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because I think when you work in the entertainment biz, you become quite concerned with your appearance, which is something that I hate it, to be honest.
Yeah. I actually find that the more I see myself on camera, the more comfortable I am. Because I'm like, I've seen, it's almost like you get used to it. And I've seen myself so many times making so many weird expressions at so many angles that I'm just like, oh, that's just my face. Like, that's actually what I look like. I don't look like when I'm in the mirror and I'm doing my makeup and I'm like, oh, this looks good. Like, I actually don't look like that at all during the day. Yeah,
no, I don't either. I work with teens quite a bit, and they're very self-conscious on camera, which is totally understandable. It's such a weird time in your life. And
it's interesting, because I would have thought, like, with having cameras their whole lives, like, right there, and digital, like, it being so quick, like, didn't have to develop it, that they might be more comfortable. No?
I mean, I think like anyone, they don't like to watch themselves.
Right.
But you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then you can see when it's working for you or if it's not.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. My kids actually, like Cade was just on Heartland and he watched himself and the whole time he was cringing. And he looked like, I'm like, you did so good. And he was just like, oh God, oh, that looks terrible. Like he just hated it. And I'm like, oh, you're an actor.
I do that with my old footage. Like if I ever have to watch something from way back, I'm like, oh, I would have totally done that different if I was going to do it now.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
But
oh God.
what's done
I
is
hope
done.
so. Can you imagine if we were still the same?
That's true. Yeah, that
still
would.
the same input and same talent and same everything. You'd be like, well, what am I doing? What's the point?
Yeah, evolution. It's real.
Well, and you've evolved a ton because you came over here as an actor, but now you teach and you produce and you write and you're acting and you're coaching. Like you're doing so much.
Yeah, well, I think you have to.
Why is that?
I mean, obviously, especially in a place like Calgary where we have a smaller market, you have to figure out how to make a living because this is all that I do. So I do lots of different things to make that work. But I don't know, I think that this idea that we have that you get into the industry and at some point someone is going to like pick you and it's going to be your moment and you're going to just always have work from then on is this fabrication that we all buy into all the way up to Hollywood. And I think the truth is that 99% of us have to be self-starters and creators because even massive stars are making their own work and their own opportunities.
Totally.
So I think that's the age that we live in, especially with the way technology has changed, you have to be an entrepreneurial actor to make it, I think. And I also think it's better on the ego because if you sit around waiting for someone else to let you start your career, it's devastating. I did that for so many years.
Yeah, you're like,
and
why aren't they picking me?
Soul-sucking. Yeah.
I'm in my living room. Where are they?
Yeah.
Why aren't they picking me for stuff?
Exactly.
Oh, wait, I'm in my living room. No one can see what I'm doing or that I'm here or what I can do.
And it really has very little to do with you as an artist as well, right?
Yeah.
Whether you work or not.
It's so true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you might you audition for so many things. And I think also creating your own work, you start to see that it isn't about you. Do you know what I mean? Like casting and stuff like that. When you see, because you've seen casting side as well. Mm-hmm. And when you do that side, you're like, oh, great, she's great, she's great, she's great, she's great. But she's this character. And it's like everybody did a fantastic job and they showed you wonderful things and they all are very talented. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to work with all of you. But she's the character in this. And that's all. And they don't see or hear that when you're on the other side of it. Do you know what I mean? You don't see oh, that was fantastic, I really like her. Because all you see is, I didn't get picked.
Yeah, you don't see how close you are or how much you impressed them. And I think that can be really difficult for artists. We're very sensitive creatures.
We have to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be very sensitive, but also very strong, I think, to work in this industry. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, I know so many talented, really, really talented people that aren't working as much as they deserve to.
Yeah.
And so I think the solution is that we should just make our own work.
Okay.
I know, easy, right?
Oh my God, it's so much work.
It is so much work and it's so expensive to do anything.
Yeah.
But I think we get closer every day. I mean, like even just camera technology has changed so much. Like the fact that you can make skits and put them on YouTube and the quality that you can get from something that you filmed with yourself and a pal is, like that just speaks volumes. I mean, we would never have been able to do that, 20 years ago.
Oh, totally.
So there's so much. I mean, on the one hand, it feels like the industry is more dense than it has ever been and it's more challenging than it's ever been, but I like to try and think it has more opportunity than it ever has.
And there's so many you don't have to go the traditional route. Like you can go and do your own thing and find your own platform and build your own audience. Like you literally can do that very easily now. Mm-hmm. So, but it's actually, it isn't easy doing it. right? Like
No.
it's the steps that you have to take, which is
Yes.
like for people who aren't in acting, like what are the steps you have to take to make your own work?
Oh my gosh, where do you start?
Yeah, there we go. I'll first go to acting school and become an actor.
Yeah, training, I mean, is huge. But the thing that I think is interesting is that, you know, we have to become multidisciplined because, you know, if you want to create your own work, it's not just about your acting now. You have to learn how to write. You have to learn how to produce. You have to learn how to roll a camera, how to roll sound, you know, or find the people that do and make friends with them. And build your networks, and then you have to know how to market that and get it out there, and it's a really diverse skill set. I think that you need to make your own work. I think it's really important for creatives to be able to do that. It's so worthwhile, and I think you become better as an actor when you understand how everything works. You know, like in Australia, soap operas are obviously like huge, very popular. And something I've always heard about soap operas, although I've never worked on one, is that, you know, they're excellent opportunities for actors because there's so much is happening all at once, and you have to know where your best light is. You have to be very decisive about how you're going to move, and unless the director tells you otherwise, and you have to learn huge amounts of dialogue in very short periods of time. And because you're learning all of these skills about where's my best lighting, where's my angles, what am I, you know, you learn so much about filmmaking in the process of working, and I think that's a lot like building your own work. You learn so many other skills.
Yeah.
And it ignites passions that you forgot that you had. You know, I used to love writing when I was younger, and I sort of forgot about it. And now my girlfriend Sarah Matson, who's also a very talented actor in the community, and I are making a podcast, and we're writing all of our own stories for it. And it's kind of like re-inspired me in writing. So it's amazing how all of these creative things end up tying together.
Yeah, totally, because all your experiences feed into it, right?
Mm-hmm. And you realize that you love things that you never thought you would. I love cinematography. I've always really enjoyed that. And I never had any intentions of being a director or anything like that.
Really? Like seriously, like still?
Never did. But
do you now?
Now I do.
Okay.
But it's because I had the opportunity to do it. And I was like, oh, I actually really enjoy this creative process.
Oh my God, you've directed for me. I was like, don't you want to be, you don't want to be a director? I'm like, oh my God, you've directed 2 of my sketches.
Well, yeah, and now I'm, you know, directing plays and being asked to direct plays after our win at the Calgary One Act Play Fest.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's all part of the fun. Sometimes I think you have to say yes and throw yourself in, even if you're not sure what you're doing yet.
Yeah.
That's my advice. Throw yourself in.
Yeah.
Even when you're not sure.
Just jump into the fire.
Say yes, figure out the details later.
Details aren't important until you realize how important the details are. And then you're like, I should have paid attention to the details.
Yeah.
Oh. And so you're here and you have your husband and you have your son. And what did you guys do for Halloween?
Actually, this year was a little unique because Huxley's 13 now, and so he went trick-or-treating by himself for the first time.
Oh my! How did you deal with that?
It was great actually. Yeah? My husband and I stayed home and ate candy and watched a scary movie and played Scrabble.
Oh.
And it was kind of nice because I think when you would relate to this, but when your kids are little, you don't get a lot of time to spend together with your spouse because you're so busy in that like raising kids phase. And now that he's, we only have one. Because we're not crazy.
I feel like one is a lot though. To me, 1 is equivalent because when they're little, you've got to entertain them or find play dates. Like you have to do all of that work of like helping them build their social world. Whereas my kids have
each other.
Yeah, I have 4 boys. They have each other. Like COVID was like, I know it was terrible to have them all in this space, like a tiny space, but they had friends to talk to. They had people to fight with. They had stuff to like go play soccer with, you know what I mean? Whereas I think kids with just solo kids, it's so hard on the parents.
It's a lot.
I mean, not just COVID. I mean, just even like raising one child. It's like you have to be so involved.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not involved. I'm making you sound like I just like.
No, I know what you mean.
Rapid, but
siblings are a huge part of upbringing, and
yeah, because you have 2 sisters, right?
I have 2 sisters. Yeah. and they have like a lot of kids between them. That would be so horrified if they knew I
Many
said
children.
that. Many children. Well, we have a puppy now, so he kind of entertains.
I haven't met
my
your
son.
puppy.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, Banjo. He's named after the Australian bush poet, Banjo Paterson.
Of course.
Who wrote Waltzing Matilda and The Man from Snowy River. He's half Australian blue heeler, half husky, because my husband is obsessed with huskies.
And did you want blue healer because it was a healer in the name and that was like a spiritual thing?
Oh, I didn't think about it that actually. No, I just wanted some kind of Aussie. I feel often outnumbered in my house by Canadians.
And the country?
Yeah. Yes. So
Yeah.
I just wanted like a little bit of someone for my team. But he's male, so he's really just become another force against me in my own
Yes.
home.
Yes.
But he's very sweet.
It's more pee to clean up.
Yeah. He's very vocal.
Yeah.
I had never heard dogs make noises like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Huskies, he is a singer.
Yeah. Okay.
Which makes sense because I have a lot of singers in my family, so of
Oh,
course I was going
of
to get a
course.
singer dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should write some music together.
Exactly.
Okay. So Cade he wants to do this sketch or this film for YouTube or something like that, where because you know the films that dogs sing songs? They have dogs singing and they sing to songs. He wants to be
yes.
a person impersonating a dog singing a song. So that's what he's decided he wants to do. And yeah.
Is he going to dress up like a dog?
Yes, he will be a person
Dressed as
being
a
a
dog,
dog, singing a song that as a human.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Oh yeah, I think he could do
really
really
would.
well with it.
Yeah.
Don't go to school. Don't go to university. That's a waste of time. You should be a dog
You should be a
impersonating
dog.
a human.
Yeah.
Singing
Yeah.
a song.
I think it's really important to encourage our kids to be their true selves.
Oh wow, it's such a beautiful self. Oh man.
I remember when I was a kid, my mum was like, we would want to wear stockings on our head, so we had long hair, to
I wanna
church
see
and
this.
things, and she would be like, yes, and my dad would be horrified because
Sorry, you need to explain what this looks like. How do you wear stockings on your head to have long hair?
oh my gosh, you never did this? Okay, well you put the bit that goes around
Your
on
waist.
your head like a wig.
Okay, so it's like upside down. It's like your head becomes the pants or the legs.
Yes, and then the legs become your ponytails. And you can put bows in them or whatever.
Yeah, you
whatever.
could dress up the beige
Yes.
nylon.
Yeah.
Was it beige or did you pick white or black? Or
I seem to think they were mostly tights, so yeah, darker colors. But I mean, bearing in mind, my mum also taught us how to play the comb, the gum tree leaf, and
is
the
that like
saw.
one of these like things?
Yes.
Like we put your hands
And the
together.
saw, woo, So, but yeah, Rapunzel hair. No one did that.
No.
No one.
No, it's Australian for sure. It's Australian countryside living. That'd be so funny if Australian people watch this and like, duh,
like,
of course we
everybody
do
did
this.
that.
Or if they totally go the other way and they're like, this woman's crazy and we
They will.
never do this.
Yeah, they probably will think. I'm
Stay in
crazy.
Canada and stop talking about Australia.
But I'm old enough now that I no longer care what people think.
Almost.
So it's perfect.
Almost
Yeah.
old enough now. I found Kate. So my dad, when he turned 25, he became the older half of the generation because he's a boomer, right?
Oh.
And so
Boomer, double boomer.
He's like full on, like the real thing boomer.
Yeah.
And so he would always say 25 was so hard for him because at 25 he was like now the older population
Right.
of the world.
Right.
And I felt like 27 was mine because it was like, oh my God, I'm in my late 20s. Like this is brutal. How do I fix my life path and like live there's not much time left. And I had, and at the time I was
Yeah.
married and had one kid and I would have been pregnant with Cade. So I was pregnant and I was just like, what am I doing with my life? And like at that point, like you're you're going down this path. This is
You're
your
committed.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you don't have to be like, but I was. That's my values. But
Right.
oh man, 27. So then like 30 was not a big deal. 40 is not a big deal. Didn't care. I was like, let's party.
I've had 4 kids. Let's party.
Yeah. Now it's time. What? Yeah.
I feel like I remember 28 being difficult,
Yeah.
which is apparently when you have your first Saturn's return.
Your first what?
Saturn's return,
Okay, explain this.
which is like, it's when the planetary alignment of when you were born is back in alignment with.
Ooh.
I'm not explaining this.
So it's
well.
like it's reset almost. It's like, is it like a 28-year cycle?
It's 28 to, it kind of can happen within a few years in that range, like late 20s to early 30s. And then another one happens in your early 50s.
Right, because it's that cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like I was deeply affected by that.
What happened?
It was a time of like, yeah, I think the same thing, right? You're almost 30 and you're thinking, is this what I'm doing with my life, and have I made the right choice? And you feel like you can't go back, like you've come so far into your life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny now to look back on that, you know, so much later and go, wow, I was really like such a baby. But at the time you think, I'm a real adult now. I have to have it all figured out.
You are a real adult, but you don't realize that nobody has it figured out. And
Yes.
that's not the point.
Yes.
It's not to figure it out.
Yes.
Because I figured out the point of life, by the way,
It is
at my ripe
to
age.
not worry about the point.
Yes,
Right?
yes. That's the point of life.
That's the point.
It's to be in it and like be in it. Yeah. I like that though. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of nice to have that reset. It's kind of nice to have that natural break where you're like, whoa, something's not. Oh, what is it? Brene Brown says like midlife crisis is actually just, you know, like your psyche, your body, your universe, whatever you think is like kind of affecting you. Just saying, stop wasting time and get to it. You know what you want to do. You know what you're supposed to do. Now get to it, right? And so I feel like that's it. Is like the 28 and then the 50 whatever. And it's like you're kind of just going, what am I doing? Saying that at 35 is when my husband and I separated. So then that became that point. So maybe mine was a little bit later.
I mean, I think it can be, but I mean, also I think we always need to do that, right? Like check in with ourselves and go, is this where I want to be?
Yes.
Because we give up so much of our power, and we have so much more power to change things than we think that we do.
Yeah.
And
That's actually what I love about like this day and age. And I think that's what's really hard about. It's hard about a lot of things actually, like raising 4 boys and also like dating and also having brothers and stuff like that, but also coming into my power as a woman, because that's what we're doing. Like that's what women are doing, and we're starting to go, wait a second, I actually don't need these structures that other people have built. I actually don't need to fit into this anymore, and I actually can cheer on other women, because I think we've been against each other for so long in history.
We have,
and
yeah.
competitive, and now it's
Oh,
like
for sure.
I'm like, oh my god, I love like the women in my life are my favorite people, and we can support each other and raise each other up
Yeah.
and like really like listen to each other. And now that we are, it's like we have so many stories that are similar, and you don't feel alone or like you're going to be judged or anything. Like it's so wonderful to be in this place, but it's such an adjustment with our relationships with the masculine, with like men and stuff. And even my dad and I were having a tough time right now, because it's like he's bringing up old misogynistic thoughts and like beliefs, and I'm like, how can you think like that? And it feels personal, because I'm like, I am a woman. Like, how can you think like that? Love me as your daughter, and I'm a woman. Like, you're literally kind of talking against me.
yeah, I think it's so ingrained, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a weird shift.
it is.
And then to see my kids, like, they're quite feminist, because I raised them. And they're quite diverse in their skills and their interests and stuff. But sometimes their hockey selves come out and they say something, and I'm like, oh no. No, 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 no. You don't actually get to say that.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
is actually not okay to say. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty chill and easygoing and can laugh things off, but sometimes I'm like, and that needs to be shut down now. Yeah.
And sometimes those things are more prolific in those kind of, interest areas. Like sports is a
Yes,
real
especially hockey.
male-dominated.
Yeah, that hockey change room
Thing.
that you don't go in after they're like
Yeah.
U13, which is like I don't know how old you are, like 11, and you no
Right.
longer go into the change room, and it's like, oh, good, your hockey culture, have my children.
Yeah.
Okay, so as an
Okay.
actor in Calgary,
Yes.
what are you working on right now that you're really excited about? And what does it take to be an actor in Calgary?
Oh gosh.
You have a
Okay,
minute.
well,
Just kidding.
if anyone figures out what it takes to be an actor in Calgary, they can let me know because I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
You are an actor in
But
Calgary.
what I would say is, I don't know. I think you have to always work for the truth of yourself. You know what I mean? There's so many rules and shoulds and should nots in our industry, and I think you have to follow your heart when it comes to what projects you work on and whether you want to create things and who you want to work with and all of those things. That sounds really woo-woo, but that's what I try.
I'm getting goosebumps.
I try to just follow my heart because I have worked on projects that I was like, you know what, this wasn't a good fit, and you don't know until you're there. And that's okay, you learn from that as well. But I think that we give away a lot of our power, and I think it's time for us to take it back.
Well, and I think the more that you do that too, you start to click into your intuition, or you start to click into like things that happened in the past that you're like, actually that wasn't okay, or I didn't like working with those people, or I didn't like this setup. Like now I'm like, honestly, I'm not working on anything that's not ACTRA because it's like, it's not hard work to work with ACTRA.
No,
And
it's some paperwork, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
for the good of everyone.
Yeah.
And also you're protected in certain, when you feel like you can rely on the safety that those kind of things provide.
And I think it's also supporting other artists that are talented and should be like, it should be strong. We all should be.
And everyone and deserve to be, compensated fairly.
Yeah.
And then for what I'm working on right now, obviously with my friend and I, Sarah Matson, are doing the podcast, the Ghost Next Door podcast. You can follow us at just Ghost Next Door podcast on pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's essentially a reimagining of ghost stories from around the world and interviews with people on the cultural significance of those ghost stories.
Oh, that's cool.
We're kicking off our first episode on November 30th.
So it's like a mix between scripted and kind of documentary-ish.
It's a story.
Yeah.
A sort of a audio story, with
Yeah.
sound effects and all that kind of thing, and then followed by a 10-minute interview with someone from that culture. It could be a regular person. It could be
those guys. Those
it could
regular
be
people.
a historian. It could be
Amazing.
anyone that has been influenced by this ghost story. So we're really, really excited for it. So if you're into ghost stories, tune in.
And
5
it's supposed to be
episodes a year.
Scary and gory, because that's what Sarah wants, is scary and gory.
Yes. There was talk about people vomiting while they listened.
Okay, so I've actually had that with one of my sketches, finger licking. Somebody was like, I was watching it and I almost puked.
That one is particularly disturbing to me also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
love
It was such
talking
an
to you all the
honor.
time.
I know.
So easy to chat with you.
Oh.
And we've worked so many times together.
So many
and
times.
We will continue.
Again, yes.
So anyhow, thank you so much for being on the first season of Completely Off Topic with Susan. And
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I
good luck.
really appreciate it.
Yay! If you enjoyed this podcast, you are going to love The Firecracker Department. It is a podcast that dives into honest conversations with women and non-binary folks in the entertainment industry with my good friend, Naomi Sneakus. Check it out on any podcast platform and on YouTube.